Hey guys, today I'm going to be discussing my thoughts and review on Stranger Things Season 4. So I loved the first volume with all my heart, and here are some thoughts I had about the first and second volume of Stranger Things. So first up, I just need to talk about how overall Season 4 is probably the best season, or tied with Season 1 as the best season in my opinion. When I first sat down to watch Stranger Things Season 4 Volume 1, I wasn't expecting too much, because at that point, no season was really at par with the first season. Season 2 was a major letdown. It really just felt like most of the season was just dealing with the aftermath of the first season. There wasn't a lot of camaraderie like in the first season. Everyone was disjointed. Felt like they were just giving small plot devices to the characters just for the sake to keep them busy. But again, Season 2 did have some good moments like Dustin and Steve's relationship, the snowball, the introduction of Max, etc. Season 3 had more going in terms of story, but again felt very disjointed. What with Hopper and Joyce running around because of Joyce's magnets, Nancy and Jonathan with the rats and their journalistic pursuits, Steve, Robin, Dustin, and Erica running after Russians in the mall, Eleven and Max creeping up on Billy, and Will, Lucas, and Mike fighting about D&D. Of course, at the end, it all comes together, that they are all linked, but for the majority of the season, it just kind of felt like we were watching different TV shows at the same time. Whereas in this season, everything just falls into place so well, and it was done just so seamlessly. 2. The grouping of characters were amazing. Now, the reason why Season 4 Volume 1 worked was even though everyone was separated, it didn't feel as jarring as the previous seasons because we as the audience knew that it was all connected. I think what also made it work was how they were grouped up. The grouping of Steve, Robin, Nancy, and adding Eddie was the dream team. This group gave me chills, and I really like what Robin and Eddie bring to the table with the older kids. Because let's face it, if it was just left to Nancy and Jonathan, again, the season would not have been as terrific as it was. This scene in particular gave me goosebumps. And having them paired with Lucas, Max, Dustin, and Erica was just perfect. I love the juxtaposition of having the young and the old kids together. It really brings the nostalgic, epic feelings of Season 1. And obviously, anyone who is paired up with Steve or Dustin is just such a joy to watch. Either Steve with Robin or Dustin and Eddie, it's always entertaining. I feel like placing 11 with arguably the weakest group of the season elevated their importance and tied them really well to the whole season. Yes, they didn't have as much to do as the others, but they had the very important task of rescuing Eleven, who we all know is everyone's only hope in defeating Vecna. Also, having Jonathan with Will really brought back memories of Season 1, and we were reminded of how great a brother Jonathan is, whereas the previous 2 seasons, he was quite frankly bland compared to just about everyone else. 3. Joyce's formula works. It shouldn't come as a surprise, but I think I cracked the code or formula for how Joyce's character is written in every season. They give her something to go crazy about that no one else understands or believes until she's proven correct.
Maybe I am a mess. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm out of my mind. But God help me, I will keep these lights up until the day I die.
In Season 1, she is looking for Will and is adamant he is alive, even when everyone told her he wasn't. Even when they find his body in the water and they have a funeral for him, she's convinced that her son is not dead and that the lights in her walls are talking to her. And in the end, she's completely correct. In Season 2, it felt really as though they were just trying to keep Joyce as this crazy mom whose intuitions are always spot on, which isn't a bad thing, but it definitely felt lacking as her concern in Season 2 was just that Will wasn't fully healed from his ordeals in the previous season.
Can anyone tell me what's wrong with him?
But compared to being convinced your son is alive while his body's in a casket, it seems a little bit like a huge step down. Season 3 was the most random and ridiculous, in which her magnets are falling off her fridge. And later, you guessed it, she was correct for having the concern because it was useful in them discovering the secret Russian base in Hawkins. Basically, the formula was running dry because the things she was caring about and freaking out over were making less sense. Whereas in this season, it was straight to the fact that Hopper was alive in Russia, and we see that same Joyce crazy spark that will fight tooth and nail for the people she loves, and not just magnets. She legit left her kids, took Murray $40,000, and just went straight to Alaska because she knew that she had to save Hopper. And that is the Joyce we love. Season 4 had one of the best episodes of the whole entire show in episode 4, Dear Billy. And just in general, the whole season had an overall mood that shifted towards more dark and more mature, which is kind of funny because I feel that season 1 was pretty mature despite the cast being at their youngest. But as the show progressed, especially in season 3, it started to feel a lot more comical. Which wasn't bad, but it just wasn't feeling like the same show that we were first introduced to. So season 4 kind of felt like a mirror of season 1 in terms of just a little bit more darker, mature. Anyways, now for volume 2. Here's the thing, I think I speak for the majority of the fans of the show when we all felt that a lot more shit was gonna go down in the last 2 episodes. Firstly, by breaking up the season into 2 parts and giving the last 2 episodes jumbo-sized lengths, really made me believe that something big that's never been done before was going to happen, like a beloved main character dying. But yet again, the Duffer Brothers used the same formula that the fans know all too well, which is introducing a lovable new character just to kill them off in the end. I was really hoping that they would subvert our expectations. So even though I was dreading having a main character die, it felt very disappointing. Although it did not make it any less sad because Eddie was a huge part of why the season was so great, and his death still makes me sad. Again, in volume 2, we have an iconic song with an amazing scene in the second volume with Eddie and the Master Puppets. There was a lot of intensity where I legit thought everyone was gonna die at one point. This dude right here, who I hated but also felt really sad for, because in his mind, he's the hero avenging the death of his girlfriend and saving Max, but really just screwing everything up, which makes it all the more tragic. However, I did feel like the last 10 minutes felt oddly very rushed for such a long finale. Nonetheless, I'm super excited for the next season, and I would still like to place a bet that Iron Man Steve will die at the end because there's no way that this dialogue exists just for the sake of it. This is classic before you die kind of dialogue. Anyways, I've seen a lot of theories running around about season 5, but if I've learned anything is that basically all my theories for season 4 was wrong, so I don't really believe any of the theories for season 5. But I'd like to know about your theories for what's to come for Hawkins and our heroes. Do you think Vecna's dead? Do you think Will turn evil? What do you think happened to Max? Do you think she's really there? Because 11 couldn't find her when she went into that space she goes to when she's looking for people. Or do you think Max might get powers next season? Anyways, just let me know down in the comments what you thought about volume 1 and 2, and if you have any cool theories you have for the next season. Okay, thanks. Bye!